Hi, this is Adria, and I just got back from an introduction to Drupal class that was offered over at Advantage Labs here in Minneapolis. Barry taught it. It was 2 hours, and basically we covered, why would you want to use Drupal, roadblocks that people encounter when using Drupal. It was basically for someone who doesn't really understand what a content management system is, or the different parts that go into what Drupal is. It was really fun. It was really interesting. So even though I think I have a higher level of understanding of content management systems and things than maybe some of the other attendees, there were several really interesting points and things I liked about the presentation. First, they had this screen where they showed all these major websites using Drupal, like the Emmys, Recovery.org, Mother Jones, Mattel, The Onion. A lot of artists who are under the Sony label thought that was great. Also, the cool thing was there were 3 other women at this thing. And it turns out it keeps sounding like, with Drupal chicks and all this, there are a lot of women participating in Drupal. That makes me really excited. Is it because it's a very complex CMS? Because women are quite smart. There was a lot of talk about UberCart, which is an e-commerce shopping cart solution, and how modules have been created to connect it directly to Drupal. One of the other things I thought was really effective in the presentation was there was a example of how a website used to look, and then after it had been Drupal-sized, let's say. I thought that was really, really good. So why was I going? I was going to learn about Drupal and to also see how effective this presentation would be at communicating what Drupal was. I've installed Drupal before, once, in like 2006. Why didn't I continue with it? Well, I only installed it because the nonprofit said they wanted their website built on it. And so I was just doing kind of some testing and stuff. I don't know if I found it particularly hard or confusing. By that time, I've already been working with Joomla and Mambo, so it wasn't like and I'd worked with PHP Nuke before, so it wasn't like this huge, oh my god, a database and some files. I pretty much got that down. You just need a config file and you're good to go. Some of the other things that I found interesting were the questions that people asked. Like someone said, they had a question about the Wysiwyg Editor. What you see is what you get. They said, what happens if you paste from Word? And so Barry, the presenter, showed that on the toolbar in the rich format, or I'm not sure what the editor is called, the Wysiwyg Editor, but he showed that there was a button so that you could paste in content from Microsoft Word and not have all that yucky sort of formatting kind of mess you up. Someone else also asked a great question about people who aren't even aware that there are things like style guides. So they were talking about how some of the text was red, green, all these different colors, and how to kind of stop that or discourage it. And Barry talked about using style sheets, and then also limiting, what people can do within the toolbar. So you wouldn't have things like font sizes available in your toolbar. And I just thought it was really great. Another thing was he talked about the roles and responsibilities of developing a Drupal site, which include how a developer basically sets up, configures the site, and selects modules that are appropriate for your business, while a designer is the person who makes it look awesome. Also, there are many other roles, like the people who actually create and manage content, who manage permissions, and of course the administration and updates of the website. I thought it was really great. A great overview for people who don't know anything about CMSs. I made this little circle thing here because one of the things I realized Drupal's really good at is tying in function to access. What do I mean by that? Well, Barry gave the example of if you wanted to have a photo gallery, and let's say we're talking about Joomla instead, or something like WordPress. A lot of other content management systems that are free and open source and very popular don't necessarily allow you to have granular control within that module or plugin or functional item. So let's say, like for a photo gallery, and this is, of course, I'm just guessing because I haven't really worked with Drupal yet. My understanding is that Drupal would be able to allow you to control what type of access someone had to that photo gallery on the back end, as well as the front end. So on the back end, maybe people could only upload photos, but they couldn't publish them, right? So the permissions in the content management system of Drupal extend into the functionality. So I made my little circle thing on Also, they provided really good resources. They talked about lynda.com, Lullabot, which, I download their podcast, although I don't listen to it all the time. And also this guy, Tom Geller. I'm not really familiar with the Drupal community yet. See, that's one thing, folks. Remember, if you don't know something, just add yet onto the end, and it makes that statement of whatever you're saying so much more powerful. Like I used to say, I'm not good at math. And I start adding on yet. And now I'm pretty sharp at the math. Also, there were some really good tips about organizations who are thinking about bringing Drupal into their, into their website solution. The 3 tips I took away were: don't put out lengthy RFPs, requests for proposals, which are, difficult to understand, hard for a developer or designer to meet, just very complex, blah, blah, blah. Also, find someone who's already contributing to the Drupal community. So not only are they using the tool and providing solutions for people, but they're giving back. I think that's huge. And also, find a good designer who knows CSS so that your Drupal site can look awesome, right? So yeah, it was so cool to understand like how they really work with developers there. They also offer managed Drupal hosting, so you don't have to worry about which are like the essential blocks or modules that you want to put in. They have basically these labs, like serious labs, where you come in, you work on your website or whatever, you have goals. Just very cool. I also met Allie. So Allie's the founder or co-founder of Advantage Labs. She's a geek girl. She's a developer. Very cool. So I'm so excited about this. I talked with Allie, and she was saying, in December there's doing it with Drupal in New York, and Angie, who I do follow on Twitter, is part of that thing, and she said it's not going to be like highly technical. It's just going to be more about really how you can embrace Drupal. Now, don't think that just because I used to drink the juice of Joomla and now I'm all in the WordPress thing, I'm going to go drink the juice of Drupal. I simply want to know more about Drupal because there's so many programmers, developers, people talking about it, and I myself have been asked so many times, can you tell me about the differences between Joomla, WordPress, and Drupal? And I'm like, I can't really speak to the Drupal because, honestly, I've only installed it like once. I think the important thing in being alive as a human in the universe is to learn about your options and be able to speak in an unbiased manner about what you know. So that's what I focus on. So folks, until next time, embrace your inner nerd. Thanks.